Ladies and gentlemen, hey, Chris Denny here. I wanted to give you guys a video today about grinder safety, and I know that most people don't really care to watch a safety video on their free time. They just want to be entertained on YouTube. I get that. I wanted to share this with you because of an incident that happened to me quite some time ago, doing something that a lot of us do on a very regular basis. And so I wanted to show you the difference between my grinder that I've had for 11 years now, with much success. It's been a good grinder. It's a small one. It's 4-inch and draws 5 amps, and it's 11,000 RPM, which is pretty standard. But yeah, I've had it for quite some time. It's something that I've used for jobs of considerable size, and not disappointed with it. It is, however, getting really wore out. I got it used, and it never did have a guard, never had a handle, and the bearings are going out on it, brushes are going out, and I don't feel like putting $45 into what you can go buy new for $49. I think that the newer Makita ones probably aren't as well built as this one, but who's to say? So I went and bought this DeWalt, and so it's a 4.5 inch. This has the larger 5/8 arbor on it, where this one was half. It doesn't even look like it's 1/2 inch. It looks like 3/8 or something. With the adapter to go to 7/8, which I'm using because you can only use. Well, the only way that you can get 4.5 inch discs is to go to the 7/8, but anyway, that's what it's designed for. So this one is an 11 amp draw, obviously comes with the safety features. And so I'm going to give a shout out real quick here to a gentleman that commented on my video about repairing the level indicator on my Kubota tractor. Howard Younger. He made a comment that hit home, and it inspired me to go get a new grinder. And what he said was he never had, or the only time that he ever had an accident happen with the grinder was when he was using a grinder that did not have a guard in place. So that's very true. I've had a few accidents with this in the past. If you use one a lot, eventually you're going to have an accident, and the accident can be far less severe if you have a guard on it. So the picture that you guys saw of my face, it happened. This wasn't the grinder that it happened with. This was at work that it happened, and I was using a grinder. It was a 4.5 inch. It's more industrial than this one. Anyway, 4.5 inch grinder using a flapper wheel. And what I was doing, I was deburring a 3/8 piece of steel that I had plased out some designs into. So running along, deburring it, being a cowboy, no guard, one-handing it, on, locked in, and I was deburring. And I was being a little cavalier. The reason I was being a little cavalier is because when you spend literally thousands of hours running a grinder, it's hot, you're moving, you have a lot to do, you're holding your workpiece, and you get really comfortable with the tools that you're using. And up till this point, I had never had a bad accident with the power tool. So don't let your experience get ahead of you, and don't be so cavalier. Watch what you're doing. So anyway, using the grinder caught, it flipped out of my hand, and it came right up to my face, and it rode right up. So it basically just did a burnout all the way up my face. And the flapper wheel, so one of the reasons that this happened, I'm not blaming other people. It was my fault entirely. But I was using a flapper wheel just like this one. And any of you that work in a shop, I'm sure that you've seen this. A lot of people, when they use a flapper wheel, they're taking down a weld. Let's say it's this way. They come in at this angle. It's easier to do this than it is this. This way you can put more weight into it. This way it's harder to put weight into it. But what you're doing is you're using just this first 3/8 to half of an inch of the flapper wheel. And then you have this much of the flapper wheel that's usable, and then this much that's basically just a radius that goes straight to the disc that the flaps are glued onto. And so this happened to be the last flapper wheel in the shop at the time, grinder that had no guard, and I was trying to utilize what I could left of this flapper wheel to deburr, and this hard part of the disc ended up catching, which flipped it out of my hand and in effect running it up my face. So there's multiple things at play. Ultimately I have myself to blame, and so that's how that accident happened. It can happen real fast. I was working away, all of a sudden all I knew was I stepped back, the grinder's on the ground still running, it's spinning around because I had the switch in the on position locked on, and I had no idea what had happened. And so I walked out of the welding room, and one of my coworkers looked up and just said, hey, you might want to sit down. Just sit down, you're gonna be fine, you look good, don't worry about it. And at this point I'm thinking, well, I don't even know what just happened. He ran in and turned the grinder off, and yeah, essentially, well, I want to show you guys something real quick before I move on to the rest of the story. This is the pair of safety glasses that I was using when it happened. Your eyeball sits right here, and if you put your finger across your face right here in front of your eyeball, you'll notice that your eyeball is convexed out. It is not, well, in my case, my eyeball does not sit below the bones around my eyes. So if I hadn't have been wearing this pair of safety glasses, or well, any pair of safety glasses, I would, right now, I would have a glass eyeball, and I would not be able to see out of my right side. So this is, it's a good reminder. This right here is a really good reminder of why we wear safety glasses. In fact, for a long time, for a few years there, when we would get a new hire in at work, they would show them this pair of safety glasses and tell them the story, and it would, well, hopefully scare them into always wearing their safety glasses. So there's that. Yeah, so again, thank you, Howard Younger, for reminding me to be safe when I'm at home. And I got to go spend a little bit of money. This was $89 at Home Depot. We had the exact same one at work, and it's the smallest one that we have at work. The rest of them are a little more industrial than this. But it has been through its paces. We have some, I'll just call them coconut heads. We have some interesting guys at work that are really clumsy with things, and they're very, very hard on tools, hard on equipment. And this has held up for the last 4 or 5 years. So that's that. So what I wanted to get to in the end was a little bit of a teaser to my next couple of videos, and this is going to come into play. I have some steel on the ground, a hydraulic cylinder, and some cuts, or some parts that I had cut, hydraulic fittings. If you guys can guess what this is for, you get a gold star. Go ahead and put that down in the comments. It'd be interesting to hear what you guys think I'm building here. Have some other parts to show you. So here is some 3/16 sheet. It's going to get cut into 3 pieces, 2 of which I'll use. Cut these down, was a 20-foot stick, 1/4 inch by 4. Little piece left over for making fish plates. And here is a skid steer quick attach prefabbed piece that I bought online, and really glad that I did it, because this guy, he did a pretty good job. These are plazzed out. He did a fairly good job. I need to come through and deburr all the edges. Yeah, it needs deburred pretty bad. He used a piece of 3/8 bar on the front, and it's probably too dark to see, but he did a pretty decent job of welding it. The rest of it is 1/4 inch plate, so that is all part of the project, and I will be starting that here within the next week or so. I'm still waiting for some other parts to come in, but yeah, so if you can guess what that is, put that down there in the comments. If you don't know what it is, or you're a new subscriber, or you're just curious, well, follow my videos. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, because this is going to be a fun build. It's going to be something that's very useful for us during the spring and summer. It's going to save us a lot of labor. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't, and appreciate you guys watching. Be safe when you're in the shop. If you have a good grinder that's not all wore out and you don't have a guard for it, get a guard for it. It's worth it. You don't want to end up like me. That accident happened actually 2 weeks before my wedding day, and I ended up with 28 stitches total. 10 of them on the outside of my face, and the rest of them were actually on the inside, because the grinder basically just, it chewed up my lips in those 2 spots. It chewed up the inside and even went into my gums and into one of my teeth. So you don't want to be that guy. So thanks for watching. You guys have a good day, and we'll catch you on the next video.